Do you agree with the proposition? You're a naval intelligence officer. You were head of naval intelligence for the Pacific Command, the entire Pacific. Do you agree, given your former professional position, that the absolute control of the Panama Canal has actually shifted to the Chinese and the Chinese Communist Party?
Well, first, Steve, I was a Pacific Fleet Director of Intelligence, not Pacific Command, so I was just the naval component. But I do assess that what's happened over this time period is that the Chinese Communist Party and their state-owned enterprises, Hutchison Whampoa, both ends, the Atlantic and Pacific side of the Panama Canal. And as we're seeing reports continually, but just most recently from guys like combat reporter Michael Yon, he's down there in the Panama Canal, and he's watching the Chinese put up bridges and other things to be able to, at their whim, be able to block the Panama Canal if they so choose. I live in Switzerland right now, and I live in an area where the Nazis were the Swiss government was concerned that the Nazis would come in from eastern Switzerland, and the Swiss devised a plan to blow up the Rhine River on the eastern end here before Lake Constance to be able to prevent the Nazi military from being able to come in and take all of Switzerland. Well, that's exactly what the PRC has been able to do and has the capacity to do with the Panama Canal. And if we think that what we saw in this last year with the evergreen blockage of the Suez Canal and this current disruption of the Suez Canal with the Houthis and the rebels and their attacks on the USS Harry Truman Strike Group and attacks against our naval vessels in the Red Sea, if we think that's bad for the global economy and our national security, well, wait until they shut down the Panama Canal. And then ask yourself, what has China done and worked out with other agents in the Strait of Malacca? So there's other key areas and what we call strategic choke points that China's well aware of. And we have been asleep at the switch for 40 years as we've allowed China to be able to move into these positions to threaten the global trade that keeps America's economy running.
Professor Malapat is one of the leading geopolitical strategists in India, and we know someone that the Modi team reads his writings at the Sunday Guardian and listens to him. He just came on here and said, you really can't be too hard in your confrontation with the CCP, that if you don't stand up to him now, we're going to really segue into something that's much more closer to a kinetic conflict. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir, I do. I've been warning about this for over 20 years. The Chinese Communist Party is intending to destroy the United States of America. And we have been filled with both Republican and Democrat administrations up until Trump's first term with politicians that want to appease China, want to make some kind of a deal, want to think that they can appease them and engage with them and talk with them and things will get better. But that shows a fundamental misunderstanding of Chinese Communist Party ideology and their intention to destroy us. And so my co-author and I, Dr. Brett Thayer, we've been writing repeatedly in weekly columns and in our book, Embracing Communist China, America's Greatest Strategic Failure, that we cannot engage or appease the Chinese Communist Party. It is really down to the basic confrontation that Ronald Reagan defined about the Soviet Union. It is either we win and they lose or the other way. And so it's a binary decision. Some people will define that as, oh, it's a neocon. Well, I never was a Democrat, and I'm not new. I have always been warning about the threat from the Chinese Communist Party and their intentions for us. This is communist ideology. They want to destroy capitalism. They want to destroy freedom and liberty and individualism for the collective. And they are coming after us, and we cannot be soft on them. We have to stand up to them, and we have to confront them. And I am very much looking for 20 January.